Now, a question I get asked quite a lot actually from South African people is how to invest offshore. What's the best ways of investing offshore? I think there's reasons for that, right? Because unlike some other countries, South Africans have got very used to investing offshore for a couple of decades. And I had a quick trip to South Africa this year. And when I spoke to people, even on the plane or other places, when I said, well, what do you do, Adam? I said, well, I'm in finance. So many people have that question because I think most South Africans want to get a lot of money out of South Africa. Now, what I would say is the process is very simple compared to some countries. Yes, there's usually a limit of about R1 million a year. So beyond that, it's more difficult. But the process is fairly liberal in South Africa. And a lot of South African clients I have, even offshore, just like other nationalities, they will get into analysis paralysis. And now, I think the key things are is this: if you are living in South Africa as either an expat or a local, obviously you don't want a lot of money in South African rand. So you have to kind of look for a USD solution, or for that matter, maybe one or two other currencies. And then also, though, actually look at what you're invested in and just keep it very, very simple in terms of things like looking at things like the fees, what's likely to be the performance and things like that. A lot of the things that people are worried about are completely irrelevant. In other words, I'll give you a perfect example of something which is irrelevant, right? Say the account that I've opened, right? I've never ever visited the investment platform that my money's invested in, and I've never lived in that particular country. But that's irrelevant, right? But a lot of people are still into this habit of thinking, well, I don't know, I'm a South African living in China. Well, does the company have an office in China? Or I'm a South African living in South Africa. Does the company have an office in South Africa? But that's not only irrelevant, but it can be a dangerous way of thinking, because actually companies that have bigger office presence, where's that money coming from? You know, $30,000 a month offices, that's coming out of your account. Not only that, but a lot of the questions that people ask are not particularly relevant. So my big tip, if you like, would be, when it comes to things like investments, always just focus on 2 or 3 key things. Fees are one example. Ease of business, how easy it is. Can everything be done online, or is it very slow process? It's just these kind of simple things is what people have to bear in mind. And also another thing I would say is often doing things by a regular contribution is easier than a lump sum. Because if you think about it, if you want to send $50,000 outside of South Africa, or indeed you're an expat in, I don't know, Thailand or China, whatever, you go to the bank, often that could be a lot of forms. Whereas if you want to just send $1,000, $2,000 a month from regular contribution, that just looks like a bill payment, right? If you've got a Visa card, MasterCard, it's much easier just to pay by card and do it on a regular basis. Okay, everyone, look forward to answering your questions.